Good morning, and thank you for stepping into the Foul Playland. As always, I'm your Foul Player. Wanted to make my final video of the day regarding my love, the team that I hold above anything else in this whole world, and that is my New York Mets. Um, and the video that I want to make is mostly discussing the center field situation in regards to Brandon Nimmo. As some of you may know, Brandon Nimmo is a young New York Mets player. He was injured a big part of last year, um, and that affected his bat in large part. But what I wanted to talk about is the list that MLB Network came out yesterday with, and it had Brandon Nimmo as their number 9 center fielder in the whole major league. Um, I think Brandon Nimmo's performance in the field last year was suffered a little bit. In spite of that, from what I understand, the list took 2018 and 2019 into effect, and they still had him rated number 9, which I think that could be close to the truth. I don't think that they waffled that ranking or they gave him undue justice. I think Brandon Nimmo has played center field pretty well. I think Michael Conforto has actually played pretty well in center field. And if you go by the statistics of Conforto, who I think is the lesser center fielder as far as his glove goes, they have Conforto ranked as an above average center fielder in the league. It's not saying much, but he's not a bum. Brandon Nimmo plays the position a little bit better. He's not like fleet of foot. He got a pretty good arm, and a lot of stuff at times may go over him in Citi Field, but that could happen to anybody in Citi Field. It happens to Lagares at times, and I think Lagares is a really good center fielder. Having said that, though, I wouldn't mind going into the year with Nimmo as our starting center fielder. Here's why. One, I think he's a good center fielder. I think he gets on base at a really good clip. He could potentially lead off for us in one of my lineups. I would have him leading off, not my primary lineup, but he could be a good number 7 hitter, somebody who gets on base a lot. He has a great eye. Even when he was injured last year and he wasn't getting a lot of hits, he was still getting on base or having good at bats, having long at bats in the latter portion of the year. And that's good. You could get 6, 7 pitches thrown in on at bat and on average with Nimmo. That's a good thing. So I wouldn't mind having him at center field. Right now we have a logjam of outfielders. As it currently stands, we're gonna have J.D. Davis potentially in left field. We're gonna have Nimmo potentially in center field, and we're gonna have Michael Conforto almost certainly in right field. I wouldn't mind going into battle with that with those 3 right there. And then we have Yoenis Cespedes, who's coming back this year to play on the final year of his contract, supposedly. I don't think that's nothing to sneeze at. Cespedes has historically played really well in these contract years, and if he could give one of these other guys a spell, so be it. You could shift Conforto into center field if you want to play Cespedes in left field, and or shift J.D. Davis into right field in that scenario. Who cares? They're young. I think they're more than equipped to rotate around the outfield, if you will. You have Maresnik that we got from the Houston Astros to play center field as well. So I think we're fully equipped in center field. I wanted to say this more as far as not sneezing at the idea of Brandon Nimmo starting the year as our center fielder, and also to not acquire Starling Marte. I'm not so high on Starling Marte. I think he's a diminishing center fielder who doesn't play as well as Nimmo at the center field position. In addition to that, you would have to spend some money to pay for Starling Marte or to be on the Mets. And I'd rather take that money and use it on a bullpen arm or 2. Right now, our bullpen is pretty solid. if the guys that we have on hand, particularly Familia and Edwin Diaz, have bounce backs year, and I expect bounce back years, and I expect that from them because they had horrific years last year. It could only get better. We, as you know, have Dylan Betances on the squad now. We have Brock back, who I think played pretty respectable. We have Wilson. We got Seth Lugo, Robert Gesellman coming in. We have Waka as a long man potentially, or as a spell starter. I mean, I think our bullpen is pretty set. So I mean, I'd much rather spend that money on a bullpen arm rather than another piece like Starling Marte. I don't think he does it for me. If there were a center fielder that was coming up in the trade market that we didn't have to get pummeled for as far as giving up chips, then I'd do it. I mean, I think Mookie Betts fits that description, but I'm not giving up a package of like Syndergaard and anything in that fashion for no Mookie Betts. Like I'm good with that. Um, but another outfield piece that I forgot to mention is Dominic Smith. Dominic Smith could also play right field mostly in a spell, in addition to playing first base. But I like the way things are shaping up for the Mets as far as like our team, as it's currently assembled. I think we have a nice little squad going into next year, and I can't wait for pitchers and catchers to come. So I go to my second home in Port St. Lucie and see our Metsies or what we have in camp and hard charge into 2020. Can't wait. Baseball's my favorite sport outside of boxing. So, and I'm pretty encouraged by what the Mets have in store for us this year. Let me know what you guys think, and thanks for checking me out. As always, I'm your foul player. Peace.